Hello, everybody. Good morning, Facebook family, YouTube family. Good morning, Kirk Ray Smith. As always, I am extremely excited for another opportunity uh, to share with you, spend time with you on the Church Express this Sunday morning. So we'll give folks a few moments here to get the live notice on Facebook and chime in, and then our YouTube family and friends. Really appreciate you guys. Are so faithful out there. And I think you guys have me on your calendars or something because you guys are ready to go, man. As soon as we pop up, you guys show up, and that's so encouraging to me. So grateful to have everybody out there locked in and listening in, and hopefully sharing some of the inspiration that I'm thankful and excited about the opportunity to provide. Um, and I just got a notice from someone that said that they couldn't get in. I hope you're on now. Looks like Tanya out there. Tanya, I hope you are able to get in up there in good old Cincinnati. So at any rate, yeah, it's truly a blessing to be here this morning to share some insight, some inspiration. I will tell you that, man, it has probably been for the past, now I don't know, great, Tanya. I'm glad you're up. Awesome. It's been, probably the last few 4 weeks, man. It's been a whirlwind. There's a lot of stuff happening, and some of you guys know what the work that I do with RCS Pinellas, also known as Religious Community Services, here in Central Florida, serving all of Pinellas County, and we do have the privilege of serving over 130,000 deserving individuals each and every year, which is 15% of all of Pinellas County, and so that work is truly an inspiration to do every single day. And listen, I've been doing it since 2016, but I will tell you, it's a job that I've said over and over that I do not deserve. When you think about the number of people that we serve and the situations they're in, each day, man, am I even worthy to even be doing this work? Honestly, because it's incredible work and it's God's work. It's God's work, and we're certainly not a religious institution. But if religion is, feeding those that are hungry, provide services to the abandoned, the abused, the forgotten, the cast out, the homeless. If that's religion, then I guess we are a religious institution, if that's how we define it. But the fact of the matter is that to be able to do anything to inspire others is a blessing. So wherever you are, whatever position you are in life, whatever your station is, if you have the opportunity to inspire other people, take advantage and savor the moment and maximize the opportunity. I will tell you, today I want to talk about leadership, and probably for the next couple of weeks we'll kind of venture into leadership a little bit, which is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart. But it's critical. Leadership is critical. There's so many different ways that we can provide leadership. There's so many different capacities that we can provide leadership. That it's not just the traditional, the boss and that type of thing, which certainly that is leadership. But there's so many different ways we can lead others and influence others. And I think sometimes as leaders, if you're in any kind of position of influence, whatever it is, so it could be a parent, it could be a club, whatever it is, civic group, you have a responsibility. And I think when you start talking about leading people, you have to understand that your character matters. And some of you guys heard me say more than once that you'll never allow your talents and abilities and your charisma to put you in a position that your character can't keep you. If you don't have the character to do the job, to do the work, to lead the people, probably just stay away from it, because there will be times when your character will be tested. So let's talk about that. Again, I want to talk about leading from the heart, or leading with all of our heart. So really putting our whole self into leadership. And I think if you have a boss, supervisor, director, even co-worker, pastor, whatever, share this with them. And maybe text them and say, hey, if you know them on Facebook, send them a message to join, share this so they can join, because I think some of the nuggets I'll share with you here, I think are critical for all leaders. Some of it may be redundant, but it's important nonetheless. So I want to talk about, again, how do we lead with all our heart? How do you lead with all of your heart? And again, when you talk about character, there's so many different ways to describe it, but the short of it is character really comes down to, what do we do when no one is looking? What's happening when no one else is around? And again, character is all about looking for opportunities to grow, to become better, to become stronger. and looking, and even when you make mistakes, turning those mistakes into life lessons. But really, character comes down to what are you doing? No one's looking. When no one's around, what are you doing? There are no witnesses. That's your true character, And I have no problem with good deeds and folks broadcasting when they do good deeds. I think, listen, when you can share that you're helping other people, and that can inspire others to do the same, I'm all for that. But the reality is that it's not about how much good you can display to others that you're doing for others, right? It's not about me telling you how many people I fed today or how many meals I paid for at a local restaurant for the customer behind me. And that's great, but that's not true. That to me, that says something. In many cases, I think people do it for show, but it's really not about show. Character, again, is about who you are and what you are when no one is looking. What kind of person are you when no one's around? That's your character. That's exactly who you are. That's exactly who you are. Image is what people think you are, right? But your character is who you know you are. Does that make sense? And so really, when you start talking about being a leader, character is essential to our influence. Having good character is critical because here's why it's important. Every move we make, right, is watched, studied, right? People are studying what you're doing. They're mimicking what you're doing. They're following what you're doing, but they're also criticizing what you're doing. Again, when you're leading people, when you're in any position of leadership, where you're out front, okay, and again, this is any leadership capacity. You can be a manager of one. Doesn't matter. But any kind of leadership position, every move you make is being watched. I know in my position and the positions I've held for many years is I'm always on. There's never a time when I'm off. There's never a time when I'm not on. Even during my private time, I'm on. How I carry myself in public, right? It's critical because what I do represents, the folks that I'm here to support and to work for this organization, RCS, for example. But I kind of have two bosses. Well, if you add Vanessa, that's three. But we can talk about that later. But I got a responsibility to God. I wake up every day knowing that I have a responsibility to him. He is the big boss. I got to make sure I'm representing him well, first and foremost. Secondly, I represent this organization, right? That I'm leading, that I know I'm representing them in every aspect of who I am. So my behavior, the way I carry myself, the way I conduct business, the way I treat people, I know who and what I'm representing. That's critical. So again, we're always being watched. You're always being studied. People are mimicking, trying to copy what you're doing. There's no greater example when you look at little kids and they look at us and they'll just copy what they see us doing. And we're being followed and we're being criticized. So if you're not ready to be watched, to be studied, to be mimicked, to be followed, and to be criticized, then you're not ready for leadership. Because that's a part of it. So people criticizing you is a big part of being a leader. New levels, new devils. That's a reality. There's no escape for any of us. So, but the heart of a leader is really the truest part of who we are. Right? My heart is that's the truest part. Where my heart is really defines who I am. Not the situation, not the circumstance, not even the difficulties. But where my heart is really defines who I really am. And if you think about it, our heart is at the center of all of our emotions. All your desires, all your wishes, right there. That's where your emotions are, all the levers for your emotions are right there. It's right there in the heart. And it's that allows us to connect with other people. And so people would ask me, well, Kirk, what is your leadership style? And I've had this question asked more than once. And here it is. You have leaders and you have managers, okay? So managers are very task driven. A manager's about do this, do that, get this done by Thursday, by 3 o'clock, and check back with me or whatever. Delegate, let's get the job done. That's managerial. Leaders, however, are relationship driven. Leaders care about the person first and the professional second. And if you care about the person first and the professional second, you're going to get more out of the person and the professional. Does that make sense? And what I found to be true over the years of being subordinate, follower, whatever, boss, director, CEO, whatever. What I've learned over the years is that while leaders can make great managers, managers often struggle to be leaders. So what happens a lot of times, folks, you're working with managers who you want to be leaders, but that's beyond their capacity. They're simply managers, so you get frustrated because it seems like they don't care much about you. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know there's something to be said about the type of leader who's interested in you as a person. Now, not to the extent that you're not getting the work done, but a leader cares about you first, because what you were before you took that position was a person. What you'll be when you leave or vacate that position is a person. So you're going to always be a person, whether you're in the job or not. So you're a person before, during, and after. So it's best that the best leaders focus on the person first and the professional second. And it took me a while to learn that. You know, as a young supervisor, I made mistakes and not looking at it that way. But the reality, it doesn't matter what you're in church, it doesn't matter. You have to care about people first. Even above your ministry, or whatever the goals are of your ministry, you need to care about the people. The people have to be way more important than any ministry agenda. That's just a fact. It's the bottom line. Bottom line. And listen, you want to talk about an example? Jesus, think about it. How long has he waited on all of us to turn our hearts around? How come he hasn't returned yet and ended all of this? Right? Because his desire is that no man goes to hell. Jesus, his desire is that all of us go to heaven. He's patient. Why didn't he strike me down or strike you down as soon as we did something against him after he blessed us? Because he's patient. Because he cares about us as people. He's patiently awaiting for you and I to make the turn, to become better. That's how it works. See, that's what good leaders do. Good leaders, they're patient. They're going to work with you. Now, you got to get the job done. If you got deadlines, you got deadlines. But the reality is, true leaders care about you and they lead from the heart. And then influence is something that shouldn't be given, but you should earn influence. Just because a person has a title, right, or some kind of position, that does not mean that they should be able to influence you right away. I think you need to earn the right to influence other people. And that only happens through relationships rather than authority. You earn influence by way of relationship, not authority. Not do what I say or else. My way or no way. I'm above you, you're below me, you know, you're subordinate, I'm the boss. You can't get anything out of people that way. That's not the effective way to lead. Now, you can't lead people out of fear and have people following you because they're afraid of you and they're afraid to disobey, you know, or anything because they're afraid of what you might do to them. You can't lead out of fear. Now, that being said, yes, there are boundaries. And there has to be an understanding, right? In many cases, you can't have a bunch of people in charge. You just got to have a boss. That's critical. Absolutely important. But that does not mean because someone is in charge, they're supposed to dominate you and act as if they're better than you and treat you any kind of way. And think they can do that and you'll follow them and respect them just because of their title. Right? So as a leader, do you want people to respect you or do you want them to tolerate you? You know, like respect you in a healthy way. Because some people just respect you because they're afraid of you. So the best leadership and the best way to influence folks isn't through authority and heavy-handedness. It's through building relationships and being patient with folks and taking your time. And emotional intelligence is an art, right? When you're talking about being emotional intelligent, you're saying, one, you understand yourself and your own tendencies and your own weaknesses and your own habits. So that's the first part of emotional intelligence, is understanding who you are and what kind of person you are. What are your areas of growth? Where are you not as mature as you should be? What's your temperament? What gets you going? What gets you riled up? What excites you? See, that's being emotionally intelligent. Like, your buttons. You're aware of your triggers. That's critical, guys. You have to know what your triggers are. What are those things that are going to set you off? You got to know what that is, man. It's critical. Second, understand that coming from others. You have to know and be aware of what bothers other people and what gets to them, what irritates them. Just because you're in charge for that moment, that week, that month, that year, doesn't mean you have a right to disregard, disrespect, or jettison how other people feel. See, you get arrogant people in these positions, man. And one thing I know to be true is that promotion and power reveals who you are. When people get promoted and they get power and influence, then who they truly are starts to manifest. And we'll get into that on later lessons, but that it manifests out of them. It just shows up. And so again, it goes back to what I said previously. Don't allow your talent and your charisma and all your gifts to put you in positions that your character can't keep you, because you won't last long. You'll burn out. You'll get fired. They'll run you out. People will turn their backs on it to be a mutiny. You can't lead people trying to heavy hand them and control them all the time. It doesn't work like that. You have to take the time out, right, to understand other people and where they're coming from. And then once you understand that, then you lead them that way. Now, you don't have to change your goals. You don't have to change your expectations. Like for me, one thing folks have heard me say a lot, some of my staff have heard me say plenty of times, that excellence is not a skill, right? It's an attitude. Excellence isn't a skill that you go to the school of excellence. It's an attitude. Do you want better? Do you want to operate at the highest level of quality? Do you want to do things the right way? Do you want to operate with the highest level of good moral character and sound judgment? Those are desires I think we all should have. Those are good. So we're not going to compromise those expectations. However, because you are a person first and I see you as that, then it's up to me, it's incumbent upon me to pay attention to who you are first, and then we work from there. Does that make sense? So it's not about not getting work done or not holding folks accountable, but it's about taking the time out to understand who people are leading from the heart, and that you don't always have to be right all the time just because you're in charge. Sometimes it's better to do right over being right. And what that means is sometimes you have to look wrong momentarily for the greater good. Reasonable people do not have to get their way. They just need to be heard. That's the reality. Okay, so again, it comes down to not trying to heavy hand or rule over people, but how about walk with people? And again, listen, this is something that we're all working on. I'm still working on this. I'm still developing this. I'm still going through a maturation, and I think I'll be going through this maturation process to my last day on earth. It's how it is. A lifelong learner. That's what I am. And again, when you lead from the heart, you start to see other people as human beings, as living, breathing humans. And it's so easy to get caught up in whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you're leading. So as a parent, you get caught up in trying to take care of the family, make sure this and that. And sometimes you forget those are human beings. Those are people. They have emotions, man. As leaders, bosses, supervisors, directors, business owners, whatever. Sometimes we forget that we're dealing with human beings. And although you may sit on one side of the desk where you're not far from the other side of the desk, you're a few feet away from being on the other side of the desk, of that desk. And that's how you got to look at people. That you're not better than they are. Man, one thing I try to communicate as much as I can. Man, listen, when I talk to young people especially, and even young professionals coming up, and I said, man, if an idiot like me can be in this position, I have all these degrees and write books and do all this other stuff, and executive this, CEO that. If an idiot like me can do it, then you certainly can. In fact, you can surpass where I am. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And I noticed nobody put in the comment section, Kirk, you're not an idiot. You know, I would appreciate that. You know, thank you. I guess you guys aren't that nice. Hopefully my wife's out there somewhere and she can just tap in. Kirk, you're not an idiot. I know she'll do it, right? But no, seriously. So what you want to make sure you do, you never want to put yourself in a position as if you're above other people. That you're no greater. I don't care what your title is or position. Listen, we all use the restroom, right? I call it the great equalizer. We all put our pants on one leg at a time, I think. I mean, listen, you're not better. You just happen to be in a different position than that person. But whatever position you're in, no matter what your position is, it's temporary. Whatever position you're in, it's not permanent. You're going to occupy that seat for a limited period of time. And one day you're going to be finished. You got to get out of that seat and make room for somebody else. So while you sit in that seat, why not? My wife just texted me and said, you're not an idiot. She's so sweet. She could have did it on Facebook. But anyway, thank you. But anyway, when you got to understand that we're just stewards, man. What we do is temporary stewardship. It's temporary. Eventually, you got to get out of that seat and you got to make room for other people. You know, for other people. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. I appreciate that. Such a nice compliment. Appreciate it. You're not an idiot either. You've never been an idiot. So at any rate, so again, let's not underestimate the power of connection to other people, because here's what I learned to be true in my career is that whenever I connect with people, I always got the most out of them, man. When they believed in their heart and they knew that Kirk cared about them, man, there was nothing they wouldn't do. Nothing we couldn't accomplish. And people know if you care about them or not. Like this world, speaking of idiots, listen, people are not stupid. They're not idiots. People know if you care, man. They know if I care or if you care. People know that. They know if we care about them. People can tell. And if you don't care, man, people pick up on that so quick, so fast, they'll know. But man, when they know you genuinely care about them and you have their back and you're going to stand with them through whatever, there's nothing they wouldn't do for you. You know, people talk about loyalty and faithfulness and commitment. Well, you're not loyal, you're not faithful, you're not committed until you test it. When your loyalty is tested, your faithfulness is tested, your commitment is tested, and you pass that test, now you know you're loyal, faithful, or committed. And that's a fact. Because you don't know, it doesn't exist until it's tested. And when you work around people and they know and they see that you passed those tests, and I'm not talking about loyalty to, when we talk about criminal activity or doing something nefarious or unethical. But people need to know that you have their back. They need to know that you care about them. And if you say you care about them, when a person says, Kirk, I care about you, I have your back and all that, I said, well, you'll get your opportunity to prove it. I don't know when, I don't know the day or the time, but you'll get a chance to prove just how loyal and committed you are. You'll get your chance. And listen, I have nothing against people saying that to one another and loving each other and having each other's backs and hugging each other. That's all outstanding. But the reality is, I don't really know if that's true until you get into a situation to do the opposite. There's no way I can know. There's no way you can know. Right? And we mean well, but again, you don't know until that situation, until something takes place to test you otherwise. And I can tell you this, one of the greatest human needs we all have is to be known. People need to know that they matter, folks. People need to know that they count. We all need to know that we matter. That is a fact. In so many situations, we could all probably sit and say that we've been in where, man, we took people for granted or someone took us for granted. And we didn't say stuff like, you matter, I love you, you're important, you're a big deal, I need you, I'm counting on you. Man, listen, it's okay to say that to your team at work, co-workers, staff, whatever. You can go up to them and say, you know what? You are so important to me. There's no way we could do this work without you. You are critical to this department, to this organization, to our success, to our sustainability, our ability to be who we are. We couldn't be who we are or what we are without you. Thank you. How hard was that? Now, do you know how far that would go? Do you know how far that goes when you tell a person, you look them in the eye and you tell them sincerely now, not contrived, but sincerely, and tell them you care about them. That goes a long way, folks. And that's what about leading from the heart is all about. It's about caring for people. Caring for people. And putting others above yourself for a change. And letting them know that they matter to you. It's critical. It's critical. And so again, it all starts, leadership starts, earning influence starts with us loving people, leading from the heart, man. Loving and truly caring about people. Influence is not given, it's earned. And whenever you earn an influence of others, you need to take that responsibility, man. Take that, man, heavily. Listen, that's a big deal. Take it seriously. And when you earn that influence, man, then you sustain the influence. No, you don't, again, do unethical things, break rules and all of that. I'm not saying that. And I don't think earning influence requires all of that. Earning influence requires consistency. Being consistent. Caring about people. Telling them that they matter. Showing them some respect. Opening up sometimes, man. Stop acting so hard and tough all the time. We do that a lot. You know, we want to be hard and tough and all this other stuff. But sometimes, man, you got to soften up. I know I had to. Because again, as a young leader, I made a lot of mistakes. You know, when I got out of the military, and I was like over a section in the military, this little section, it's about 5 soldiers or so. So I had a little group of them. When I got out and I went into corrections and I became a supervisor in that capacity, I made some mistakes. I remember just saying things, being insensitive to people's needs. And I realized that, man, these are human beings. So I learned, I was in my mid-20s when this happened. And I learned over the years. So folks, listen, whatever capacity you're in, learn how to lead from the heart with all your heart. Understand that influence is earned, not given. And once you earn that influence, then you got to work twice as hard to sustain it, to maintain it. Understand that people are people first and professionals second. They're human beings. They need to be embraced. They need to be affirmed. They need to be treated as if they matter. And if you don't do that, man, you'll lose them. It's not about salaries and all this other stuff. Man, you will lose people if you don't show them that you care. And that's what people need to know, that you care about them. And if they know that, there's nothing they wouldn't do for you. There's no task too difficult. There's no mountain they wouldn't climb. If they know that the folks that are leading them believes in them, just like that with your kids. If they know you believe in them, if they know that you think they're important and you think they're special, and not just thinking but believe they're special, they're going to respond accordingly. They're going to respond accordingly if they know that. And we have a responsibility to treat people, man, the way we would like to be treated. And just because you're in a position of power does not mean you can lord over or dominate or mistreat people. That does not give you a license to step on people. And I'm going to tell you this as I close. Before a fall is pride, man. The minute you start thinking you better than other people, man, listen, God will sit you down so quick. So quick. He will adjust you and put you where you need to be. And that's a fact. So I'm saying don't end yourself. Don't ruin yourself with pride and arrogance and walking around looking through your nose at other people. People are people, and so are you. So with that, have a great week. We're going to talk about some more stuff around leadership next week. And I think I'm going to talk about sort of leading with the mind. That's a little bit more strategic focused. But at any rate, have a great week. God bless you all. Please share the video. Make sure you make comments. I'll respond to every comment so we sort of keep the video fresh. And let's do this again next week. But God bless everybody. Appreciate y'all, man. Just, keep pressing, man. Keep going out there. Keep doing what you're doing. God sees you. Listen, your labor is not in vain. Listen, you will reap in due season if you faint not. God bless. 1.